This is Outbreak News This Week, brought to you by the Global Dispatch Incorporated. Outbreak News This Week is your source for all the news about worms and germs. And now, your host, microbiologist and editor of OutbreakNewsToday.com. Here's Robert Harriman.
Well, good evening, Tampa Bay, and everyone that's listening online streaming. My name is Robert, and I appreciate you listening tonight. And I encourage you to check out the website, OutbreakNewsToday.com, OutbreakNewsToday.com. And I also want to put a thank you out there for all the great support at the Facebook page, at Infectious Disease News. We're up to about 46,000 followers now, so it's really moving along pretty well. Now, as regular listeners know, this show focuses on infectious diseases, news and research and interviews with experts. But occasionally I do delve into other topics of health, and today's interview is a very important one. Now, as I mentioned last week on the show, April is National Donate Life Month. It features an entire month of local and regional and national activities to help encourage Americans to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors, and to celebrate those that have saved lives through the gift of donation. Now, right here in Tampa, we have the Lifelink Foundation, an organization dedicated to organ and tissue donation and transplantation. Joining me now to discuss organ and tissue donation is Betsy Edwards. Betsy is the Senior Public Affairs Coordinator at Lifelink. And in addition, I am very honored to be joined by Carlos Ruiz. Carlos is a donor family member. His brother Omar passed away in April 2014 and saved 4 lives through donation and helped many more through tissue donation. Thank you both tonight for joining me this evening. I appreciate it.
Well, hi, and thanks for having us.
Okay.
Good evening. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Glad to have you. I want to go ahead and start with some basics with Betsy. Now, last year, more than 33,000 lives were saved throughout the country thanks to organ donation. And that's more than ever before. And thousands more were improved through tissue transplantation. However, sadly, 22 people die each day because of a lack of available organs for transplant, making this mission of educating the public about the importance of organ donation oh so critical. Betsy, can you talk briefly about the importance of this month?
Yes, absolutely. And really, just to second on what you were saying earlier, April being National Donate Life Month is a chance for really the donation community from across the country to come together to celebrate the tens of thousands of lives that have been saved or improved through the gifts of organ and tissue donation. It's also an opportunity for us to remember and celebrate the legacies of the heroes of tissue donors, just like Carlos's brother Omar. And it's also a chance, as you mentioned earlier, we have a staggering more than 118,000 people on the National Organ Transplant waiting list. And so this really provides us a great opportunity throughout the month of April to call attention to the huge need for donation and also call attention to the fact that that need continues to grow with a new name added to the transplant waiting list every 12 minutes. And really the only solution to that is to get the word out about donation and also encourage people to take that step of action by registering on their state's organ and tissue donor registry, which in the case of Florida, that would be by either going online to donatelifeflorida.org or registering while getting your driver license or ID card.
Excellent. So who can donate organs and or tissue, and are there age limitations?
Well, everyone should consider themselves a potential donor regardless of age, race, ethnicity, or any pre-existing medical conditions. And in terms of what organs and tissues can specifically be donated, when we talk about organ donation, we're talking about life-saving organs, which would include everything from your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, pancreas, and small intestine. And then when we talk about tissue donation, we're talking about things such as corneas, which help restore the gift of sight, skin, which oftentimes is used for burn victims and also in surgical procedures. There's bone that can be used for reconstructive surgery, and also tendons and ligaments, which are often used for sports injury repairs.
Okay, now, how does the organ donation process work?
Well, the way the general process works is in the event that anyone passes away in a hospital setting where organ donation could potentially be an option, what happens is after that individual has passed away, all hospitals anywhere in the United States are required to contact their local organ recovery agency in the event that there is an opportunity for possible donation. So the first thing that would happen is, if it's in the Tampa Bay area, that would be Lifelink, as you mentioned earlier. So what would happen is we would receive the call, and the first thing we would do after getting all of the individual's information is we would look to see if they were or were not on the organ and tissue donor registry and if they had made that decision previous to their passing away. In the event that they were a registered donor and over the age of 18, we then would work with the family to explain the donation process and how we would proceed in carrying out their loved one's wishes for donation. If they're not on the registry or they're under the age of 18, we would still talk to the family about the opportunity for donation, and it would fall to the either next of kin or, in the case of with a child, whoever the legal guardian is to make that decision about donation. And then hopefully either the individual was registered or the family chooses to say yes and move forward, just like you're going to hear shortly about how Carlos's family made that decision. And then we move forward with recovering organs for transplantation.
Perfect. Now, are there any religions that have objections to donating organs?
No. The great news is that all major religions are in support of donation, whether you're Catholic, Baptist, Jewish, all major faiths support it as a life-saving act of giving the gift of life to another.
Excellent. All right, let me switch gears to Carlos. And Carlos, again, I really appreciate you coming on the show. And the floor is yours. Can you tell me and my audience your story and your brother's story?
I'd be happy to, sir, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to share the story.
Yes, sir.
Quite frankly, for me and the culture that we came from, donation isn't something that's heavily spoken about or even something that we considered at one time. I come from a Hispanic cultural background, having been born and raised in Puerto Rico prior to coming over to the States. So my brother, essentially, Omar, was a trendsetter as far as this is concerned. Unfortunately, when I received that phone call that evening of my brother's passing, I found out that he had previously made the decision to become an organ donor, which, again, was foreign to me. What Lifelink did a really good job about was sitting down with me and explaining what his decision to donate meant and the amount of lives that he may save and or impact in a positive way with his decision to donate. And what I really found interesting is that Lifelink, they weren't telling me to let me know that that's what was going to happen. They were letting me know to ensure that I was okay with his decision, which was amazing to me because it almost provided me an opportunity to either decide to honor his decision to donate or not honor it. And knowing Omar as long as I knew him, it was amazing to me that he wanted to commit such a selfless act, even when he's no longer around to physically do it himself, that I could see no other way but to honor that decision. And quite frankly, it's probably the best thing that I've done. Several months passed by, and I began getting letters from organ recipients who received the gift from my brother and or their family members. And I got letters and I got postcards, and they're explaining how my brother's decision to become a donor gave their family member or themselves an opportunity at a second life. One in specific, as a matter of fact, was days away from passing away due to his liver failures. And had it not been for the phone call that they received from my brother's decision, that gentleman would not be here today. Now, subsequently, that gentleman's family reached out to me, and we have since made contact. In fact, we just went to the Tampa Bay and Yankees game this past Sunday, and I got to hang out with him and experience him, and such an amazing human being. And I'm just grateful that my brother made that decision so that this man could continue to enjoy not only his children, but his grandchildren and his wife. And it's just been an amazing journey so far. Interesting story. Now, of course, this was a very difficult time for you and your family. You know,
were going through a grieving process of the early on parts. And so how did the whole process work for you? I mean, while you were in this, frantic grieving time, how did the people at Lifelink handle you as a potential donor family member?
Well, again, I think they did a remarkable job because I was still in a state of shock. Anytime that you're being told that a family member, a loved one, or somebody close to you has passed away, it's a difficult pill to swallow. Sure. Much less to then start trying to make decisions on what to do moving forward. I think, again, Lifelink did such an amazing job at explaining everything thoroughly, letting me know exactly what his wishes were, but wanting to know how I felt about those wishes, and explaining, again, the dynamics of the amount of lives that he can potentially save and or impact in a positive way. And for the lack of better words, it was almost serene or surreal. I'm not sure how to properly explain it, but it was in the midst of such tragedy of me losing my younger brother. Mm-hmm. I see the beauty and the potential for his passing, and essentially finding a little bit of purpose, because when we lose a loved one, we often say, why him? Why the good guy? Why, how could it happen to such an amazing person, such a loving person? But then it kind of, that little light at the end of the tunnel makes sense, because it happened because he was able to provide the gift of life to 4 other people who otherwise would have lost their lives. And again, it's just finding beauty in tragedy, really. And I think Lifelink did an amazing job at walking me through that. And not only that, but maintaining contact with me still to this day. It's just been an incredible journey. Again, it's just, I can't say enough about Lifelink and Donate Life Florida.
Yeah. And the number that I got from Betsy was 4 lives were saved through Omar's organs.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
And dozens more impacted with just his tissue.
Sure.
Donations as well, which has just been, it's been great, for the lack of better terms,
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me open up the floor to both of you on these questions, and either one of you can jump in, because either one of you can probably answer them. Now, is there any cost associated with the organ and tissue donation to the donating family?
Well, the good news for all is, and I'm sure Carlos can speak to this as well, there is no cost whatsoever associated both for registering as an organ and tissue donor and then also becoming a donor. It's a completely free gift to give to both the donor and the donor family.
Yeah. You got anything to add to that, Carlos?
No, I mean, she hit the nail on the head, really.
Perfect.
I mean, there's been zero cost associated from my side whatsoever.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. There's no cost. Okay. And as a matter of fact, since finding out the beauty of what Donate Life and Lifelink are able to provide for individuals, I was not a registered organ donor before I learned about this, and my brother taught me a very humbling lesson. Sure. And since then, I have registered as a donor myself.
Now, did the process affect the funeral plans or anything like that?
It did not. No, sir, not whatsoever.
Okay. And now, Betsy, if somebody gives an organ or tissues, can there be open casket funerals?
Yes, there can. The reason being because when organs are recovered for transplant, all of the organs which are recovered are in your abdominal area. So obviously your rib cage is going to keep that area intact. And then with tissue donation, once tissues are recovered, we actually then will put wooden prosthetics in place of the tissues that were recovered. So the body still maintains its general shape. And yes, you can have a full open casket funeral if desired.
Okay. Now, this question specifically for you, Betsy, is now I've read of some concerns that people may have that, and it's clearly a false notion, but I want you to just clear it up. If someone's in a life-threatening accident, some people fear that the doctors and the ER will let you die for the organs. Please dispel that.
I would be more than happy to, as that's probably one of the most popular myths we hear on a daily basis. And yes, everyone can rest at ease knowing that in the event of a life-threatening accident, doctors and nurses and medical staff, it is their first and foremost priority to try to save the lives of each and every one of their patients. It's only in the event that a patient's life is lost that then the local organ procurement organization, which again in the Tampa Bay area, that would be Lifelink, We're not employed by the hospitals. We're not affiliated with the hospitals. We are a completely independent organization. We're the ones that then get involved after a life has been lost in hopes that we can give the gift of life to others through organ donation.
All right, excellent. Now, and you've already touched on this a bit, but if someone wants to become an organ and tissue donor, what can they do? Is there a registration process?
There is a very, very quick and simple registration process involved, and it's as simple as either going online to donatelifeflorida.org, or when someone's visiting their local driver license office, they can choose to say yes when asked, are you interested in becoming an organ donor during a driver license transaction, or when getting an ID card as well.
Okay. Now, the show is based out of the Tampa Bay area, and that's where the Lifelink Foundation is located.
Correct.
Betsy, can you tell us some more about Lifelink Foundation and the work they do, and how would somebody, if they needed to, contact Lifelink?
That's a great question. And actually, Lifelink is a local nonprofit organization dedicated to servicing the community and providing both the recovery of organs for life-saving transplantation and also providing public education efforts and outreach initiatives for getting the donation message out to the community. And if anyone is interested in more information on Lifelink or to contact us direct, they can actually go online to our website at lifelinkfoundation.org, or they can call us direct at 1-800-262-5775.
Okay. Now, for both of you, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to add?
Carlos, I'll let you go first.
No, actually, I'm honestly just humbled and honored that you allowed me to share my brother's story and to keep his memory alive and just the amazing decision that he made. And quite frankly, I hope that you and or any of your listeners, if they've not registered yet, to please go on ahead and do so, because the impact that will make in the future is beyond even comprehension. So thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're more than welcome, sir. You're more than welcome. Betsy?
I think I would really just have to second what Carlos said in regards to for any individuals who have not yet made that decision about registering as a donor or haven't had a chance to give it thought. I just really hope that after hearing, not only hearing about some of the correct facts and information about donation and the process and how all of that works, but also after hearing a story from a donor family member like Carlos about how the donation experience was such a positive thing for their family, and knowing that Omar's legacy lives on through the lives that he saved, I just hope that will really prompt people to give some serious thought to registering as an organ and tissue donor, knowing that through the gift of one organ donor, up to 8 lives can be saved and more than 70 improved through the gift of tissue. And given that it is a free and simple and quick decision to make, it's really a matter of why not?
There you go. Well, very good. I want to thank you, Betsy Edwards and Carlos Ruiz, for all this great information, and Carlos, your story, and God bless you both. I appreciate it.
Thank you
so much for having us.
You're more than welcome. And again, you can check out the website at www.lifelinkfoundation.org for more information on this important life-saving and life-enhancing work.